Hello, everybody. It is 11 o'clock in the morning. You are all welcome to my live gardening clinic. I'm going to be looking up and down because I've got two cameras today. I'll be doing via Instagram, and I'm also doing live, obviously, via Restream, which will also be on YouTube, Facebook, as well as my YouTube channel. So thank you, everybody, always starting to wave to me. That's really lovely to see you. Today, we've got a lot today we are going to be looking at preventative measures to ensure we get a good crop of cooking apples. We're then going to be looking at roses and black spot. We're going to be looking at climbers and plants that can be grown in pot-shady, north-facing garden, plant in a shady, dry soil under tree, and then failing lupins and how the best out of them. So quite a few things to get through, but I'm sure. Please, if you like what you see, please like it. Please share it with people. The more likes and shares I get, the better it is. So Twitter and all the other social media. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Claire. Lots of people are all starting to come. It's lovely. Waving to me. So, sorry, I wasn't last week. As you probably know, I'm doing something else. But we are here this week. So here we go. First of all, so the question I had was from Phil. He said, I have a cooking which had a winter wash and is fed and washed regularly. Any nasties appearing. Any other preventative measures to secure a decent? Well, for those of you who don't know, a winter wash basically involves spraying the trees with a mixture of plant diluted in water. Then that helps sort of pests and diseases and reduces all the fungal spores. But I would also stress, please follow the instructions on. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there are over 2 known apple varieties in the UK, and sometimes an apple can fall into biennial harvest cycle, which means it only produces fruit every 2 or 3 years. This is typically because the tree basically has exhausted itself the year prior, or isn't receiving all of the essentials. Background with regards to your apple tree, and then if you want an annual supply of fully developed and ripe apples, it may be necessary to thin your tree early in the fruiting period. Now, when I was last on, I did sort of talk about very, very important. The tree may try to do this naturally in what is known as a June drop, but it doesn't give Mother Nature a helping hand, really. It may be traumatizing to waste so many fruitlets. But when it comes to human consumption, quality certainly beats quantity. First of all, rid the tree of any disease, rotting or malformed fruitlets. It's easy to be able to see them. You know, these are tiny little fruits. They look diseased or they're rotting off. Just pick them off with your fingers. 2, remove the remaining apples until you are left with only 1 apple per 4 to 6 inches for dessert, i.e. eating apples, and 1 apple per 6 to 9 inches for cooking. For you, need 1 per 6 to 9 inches, and it's always better to rid those on the underside of branches, which may not receive as much light or air. Just for people who are looking at 2 screens, doing a lot. Please bear with me because I'm doing different things and being live through different things as well. So pollination is usually the critical factor in how well your fruit tree, how your tree fruits. If your tree lacks a pollinating partner or the beneficial pollinating may not occur, resulting in a poor crop. An apple tree typically needs a pollinating partner within a proximity of around about 50 feet. This partner must also be an apple tree, but of a different variety. Very few apple trees are self-pollinating, and most of them aren't. And trees are categorized in pollination groups based on when they come into bloom. So one being earliest in the year, and apples, red dessert, which may pollinate the dollar, which is in group 2, before law group 5. Sort of those numbers just either side, and you need to think about when those plants are actually going to be producing the fruit. Also, a great thing to do, your garden attractive to pollinating insects. You know, we safeguard our wildlife, we've got to safeguard our pollinators. So thing to plant near trees are things like lavender, such as lavender, chamomile, and of course things like daffodils are all great plants for getting in these welcome visitors early in the year when the blossom is out, and also deterring pests. Now, unsurprisingly, are a prime target for a whole host of diseases. You do need to do is relying on any vigilant when sterilizing. Important, always sterilize your plant when dealing with disease treatment. You must clean it or you transfer that disease as a tree is budding in spring, fungicide sprays are available copper-based. This should leaf emerge. Again, is late, however. Now there are things like called apple maggots as well as cod protect spots, any and highly plastic. I know we always see these sort of smile different sort of insects. Probably not always the best. If you can try and go for an open metal mesh, better. And of course, you can always put up sticky and pheromone traps. And these can be used typically in early May, before insects meet. I think hopefully feel idea help sort of give you bumper. You're obviously doing the right thing, watering it. You are checking for all those nasty calls. Just sort of take it into rid the tree of any disease or remove the remaining apples until you're left with one apple per 6 that's eating apples, and one apple per 6 to 9 inches, which is for cooking apples. And then always better to rid those little fruit on the underside of branches which may not receive as much light as much or and your pollinators in. Plant up really good pollinator lovers such as lavender, and that way you'll bring them in and they will help sort of when the tree is in bloom therefore they will pollinate your trees. They will get more fruit on the trees. Also, then just make sure that you check for all your nasties. Make sure you put up. We're a bit late now. We're just about to go into June. Things like sticky traps or your pheromone traps, and also if you have a tree, you're going to get a bumper crop when you've got another tree which is going to be close or nearby. Obviously within groups which are just either side 6. So you've got a number 1, you need a number 1 or a number 2. So you don't go for a number 1 and a number 5, for example, because flowering will be different times and therefore pollination won't work. So another tree in the area, or if you know there are other trees growing in your area, then that will help as well. And the last thing is that obviously if you've got a tree guard, try and get rid of those plastic spiraling ones, and go, because those plastic spiraling ones just basically harbour pests and little nasties, which we don't want. We want our fruits and we want to have our bumper crop. So there we are, a few ideas there to hopefully give you a bumper crop. So we see more and more people joining in. The next one, so question, and asks this: please could you tell me if this is the ready? It's on Malvern Hill, by the way, for those people that don't know. It last spring. It seems to grow well over. I'm mulching, feeding the year. Is it all doom and gloom? Or can it get rid of, or can I be rid of it? Sorry. She did also send through some photos, and I am sorry it's a black spot. However, the rose is in full bloom, and it looks gorgeous. Malvern Hills, for those of you who don't know, is a repeat flowering rambler. The copper yellow clusters of bloom. It's actually being given to Monty in memory of Nigel. So there we are. It's a lovely rose, but unfortunately, Jane, you do have black spot. So black spot is otherwise known as Diplocarpum. Time can reduce the vigor. Now, unfortunately, like the common cold, new strains arise rapidly, which means that even new plants bred for resistance will eventually fail. I know that's not what you probably want to hear, all of you, but I'm afraid it's not the way it is. As I say, just like the common cold, nasty strains, they decide that they want to grow in another way, and therefore they come along and they hit the new varieties, and then somebody else needs to gather and the new one to get more plants, and then along comes another one. So with black spot, what you're going to see, you're going to see purple black blotches appearing on the upper side, and sometimes the leaf will also turn yellow and drop. Sometimes the black markings remain small and leaves don't drop. You sometimes also get small black scabby lesions on the young stems. So that's a sort of just way of sort of seeing whether you have one. You need to reportedly on ground. You mentioned plant has had the years that the into the plant which can fallen leaves or and you go in the wet soil for protection to get come the spring. Over fallen leaves will be okay. Opinion, from my experience, it tends to make it worse. You need to be really make sure you see how easy it is. You know, we're all busy. The gardens of action somewhere else, somewhere aren't. Really vigilant with those leaves at the top. It's not always going to help. Also, if it's affected roses in your neighbour's gardens, then spore blown air. So you need to and see if they've got any black spot on theirs. Obviously, if you've got black spot, then someone else buys a rose, and in time they may too. Just be one. Someone I like a rose. I used to get that on iceberg roses, but weirdly enough, yeah, it's interesting. And as well, it's always been okay. But there we are. You know, different areas and places we live, different environments, different. So we'll see where we're there. Someone just said that on the restream it's a little bit intermittent. So if you want to go over to my Instagram, live on Instagram, or you can try. I'm sorry for that, but you could just try it on Instagram instead. If you could just tell me if Instagram is okay, or if not, just let me know, please. People say struggling with connection. Oh dear, that's not good. Anyway, I will carry on. So, where are they? We're on roses. There are fungicides you can use, which will help with black spot. There's one called Instagram is fine. It's great on Instagram. So if you are having problems on Twitter or on Restream, please try it on Instagram. So there are fungicides that you can use, and some of the ones are like Provanto Fungus Fighter, which is a concentrate. There's also Fungus Plus, Top Rose Control and Protect, and there's even Scott's Fungus Clear Ultra and Scott's Fungus Clear Ultra Gun, and all of those can be used. You can also try the Westland Resolve Rose. There's also Dot Rose Shield Bug and Fungus Scott's Rose Clear Ultra Gun 2, Vitax Rose Guard, Scott's Rose Clear Ultra, and Scott's Rose Clear Ultra. David Austin actually using Rose Clear. So so Rose Clear could be a good option for. Need liters of water if you water it. That's a lot of brilliant Instagram, fab, great. There's a lot of water that those rambling roses need, so be aware of that. There's no need to water between and February, but between March and water once a week, and then June to September, water once a week. If we get really, really dry spell like we are now, you may need to water sort of twice a week. Water always at the base of the plant and allow the water to never water the leaves. Because all you're going to do there is, if you've got black spot, as I said earlier, with water droplets, it's just going to go from leaf to leaf, and it's just going to spread. So that's a bit more of that, the way that you're going to water. For feeding, feed twice, once at the beginning of April, and again later in July after the first blooms finished. And I would always say that a granular feed is normally one of the best when it comes to roses. You sprinkle it around the base of the rose, gently work it in with the soil. The water will just take all that lovely food to the plant where it needs it. And that's all you need to do. Nothing too difficult. Very, very, very easy. So all I would probably say, it was Jane, wasn't it? It was Jane. Sorry, Jane. I know you're a regular follower. All I can say, Jane, is enjoy it while it's still flowering. It's still looking gorgeous. I know these probably don't look very nice from a distance, from the photos that I've got. You could try using one of the fungicides, and I wish you best of luck. And no less starts that you want to hear, but roses, while lovely, do have their problems, like many other particular problems. So repeat. It's on more, which is a lovely flowering. And black clay, for those of you who want to look it up. Like the common cold. So even these new varieties that say that they are disease resistant will eventually, unfortunately, come. Well, the black spot and fail eventually, because the common colds always arise rapidly. Black spot are these on the upper side of a leaf, and you sometimes, which remain small, but sometimes the leaves drop off, but they don't drop. Sometimes the leaves turn yellow. Use little black scabs as well on young stem. So pick all the infected leaves off the ground, especially off the ground, and then you mulch it, water and mulch it. But you must keep those leaves off and out and get rid of them and burn them. And you can try using the fungicides. Try. I've got really real problems today, so you can try those. And as I say, watering really, really important. Things like I would say about 10 litres of water each time you water. You don't need to water between October and February. March to May, water once a week, and then June to September, once a week. Then water twice a week. And of course, feed twice a year, once in April and once again late July. That's all I can suggest, really. Unfortunately, and if you love your roses, then I'm afraid you're spot. So, next question. I'd love to have a recommendation. I can't find this person at my. I'm sorry. I'd love to have a climbing pool plant north shady in a narrow, shady, north-facing garden. I love that word, garden. It's obviously it's a small. The individual did actually send me some photos, and there's this sort of blank wall. So of course there are many plants that could be used. That's Maya. I think that's you, isn't it? With your garden. So there are many plants that can be used in a north-facing garden. Several plants will work brilliantly in a north-facing aspect, as flowers or niobe with rich purple blooms, Clematis jackmanii with lovely sort of purple blue flowers. Just talking about roses. The beautiful pale yellow flowers edged with white, or roses diamond iceberg, pure white flower. And of course, white's brilliant to use as the light, especially at night time, and especially in the north-facing part of the garden. You know, white is the last colour you see as the light disappears. So it's going to stay and it will brighten your garden. It's incredible. If you stay out in the garden just as it gets dark and you look at your white plants, one of the best, I suppose, or for wildlife is Hydrangea. You cannot be an answer. And the great one is, and it has these also white birds, bees, and butterflies. So that's a great one to have. Or what about a sweetly scented honeysuckle, such as Linicera, Graham Thomas, beautiful pale yellow one, and pale yellow and white blooms. And if you got to marry that with that Rosa the Pilgrim, you've then got this beautiful sort of white yellowiness sort of going on. It'd be really, really lovely. For something a little different, a large pot, you could try a fully hardy Japanese hydrangea line. It's Cracama, Flowery, Angel Wings, and that's schizo, S-C-H-I-Z, P-H-R-A-G-M-A, separate word, Flowery, F-A-U-R-E-I, and then Angel Wings. And with that, you get these lovely lace-cap flowers with creamy white bracts. It really is a gorgeous plant, and it is hard for love and north-facing aspect. I should say, for covering an unsightly grabbing through up into a tree. So, you know, one in height, and we'll get to about 3 meters in width. So it's a plant. So this is why I say it was a really big pot. But if you want something different, then why not that? Great plant for wildlife. And I know people, you know, it's a bit like is ivy. Life, nest in it. The flowers, blooms, will be butterflies. The bed are great. And there are, of course, many different ivies to choose from. One or a couple, actually, I would say. You could try Hedera Sulphur Heart, which has these variegated leaves of pale lime green and with a darker green edge. Really gorgeous. And there's also Hedera, which edged. So if you sort of off or cover the wall, to go for as the schizo or a honeysuckle, you're getting sort of evergreenness from the ivy, and you're getting the flowers. For a touch exotic, then you could always try a lovely pink one. You could try, which is Aura X Violacia. And that last word is V-I-O-L-A-C-E-A. Those of you who are taking early summer colour. How about Jasmine revolutum or revolutum? It has clusters of bright yellow flowers from May to June. It's semi-evergreen and can be grown as a shrub or be trained against. So getting away from climates, there are sort of some lovely tall plants that you can put. Wonderful foxglove, such as Digitalis, which is a lovely white one. Digitalis mertenensis, which has really sort of lovely, rich flowers. And you know, they're great. vertical spikes. And so if you've got sort of mounds in your pots, like your hostas, for example, which I remember seeing in the photo, or you've got stuff growing up the wall, also have the pots some really great way of just adding a little bit more interest and some more texture into the space. You can also try Sweet Sister or Myrhis odorata, which is a great tool herbaceous meters in height, and it has these sort of flat topped white flowers, sort of a bit similar to like an Ami. If people know the bishop, nice sort of white, and the flowers ripen to dark fruit, which in herbal medicine. You can also use the fern-like leaves to fruit dishes to reduce the acidity. So if you like your cooking, then maybe grow some like Sweet Sicily. As I say, it's a lovely tall growing plant. For a handsome plant, like a euphorbia, so Pasteuriae, which is a really beautiful architectural plant, which is evergreen leaves, and it has this sort of central white vein down the leaves. And then in late spring, you get these scented. If you're in sort of a corner, then you've got that honey scent. It's going to fill that whole space. It's going to be absolutely lovely. So there we are. There are a few plants which will scramble up your wall. There are a few plants which give you some vertical interest. Hopefully that's giving you some food for thought. Many plants, though, as I say, for a north-facing aspect, many people sort of get a bit, because everyone thinks they must always have a south-facing garden. Not true. There are so many plants you can use. And as I just mentioned, which will give you a nice sort of display, sort of late spring into summertime. You're welcome, Maria. That's so good. Thank you very much. But also, next question is, plants can I grow at the base of some trees in shade with soil? But of course, these are really going to dry anything that's going to be down below. Flowers are less likely, but ornamental foliage offers you get evergreen shrubs like the cherry, also like fatty, which has a large shiny hard works really, which especially flowers in for your winter interest. Carries some waves of bright leaves and flowers tiny leaf source. It's astonishing. It really is. You could also maybe if you go for Mahonia aquaforum in Tuffy, they have polyite leaves and the flowers have light scent to them, so it will do perfectly well. If you want to go to the small genias or elephant, I would great, big, thick green leaves, set up flowers from white all the way through to dark pink. Mind are Penia silver which have the beginner and really dark purple. My favorite silver tree is Umbrella spring, the other one flower. It has these sort of very delicate oak-like leaves, dark wings on And then these sort of short with white, pink flowers, bees, absolutely, because they sort of all open up, they sort of create like this foam effect, which is what's called it really is beautiful. Bees love it. It's really better. Lyria, the blue is a really good one. It has moss-like blade-like leaves, which are August and November. So it's great later on in the year, but it tends up these spots of flowers. You can get a white version, and if you plant it again, like larger plants, like the just contrast. It's a really good Lyria. Another great herbaceous perennial is my shade. They have these beautiful and a lovely spreading habit, and they send up these delicate flowers, which can range all the way to red colours, and then on sort of wiry wind. It is semi-evergreen, but it's a great year-round. So it's a really good one. So to add a little bit of underneath trees, it can be a bit dark, it can be a bit gloomy. To add a bit of light, then what about Alanium, which is actually related to the nettle family, but it's a dead nettle, and it's Lamium silver. And it's a great one. It has silver leaves, which are edged in green, and it forms silvery carpet, and then it has these wells of sort of long-lasting nettle flowers from May all the way through to July. It needs established in dry shade, definitely worth trying. So there's a few plants that you can grow at the base of some trees. Those ones really difficult. One is that obviously plant plants in these dry areas underneath must obviously water, and don't just put them in, because the tree is going to soak up most of that moisture. If you also think about sort of roots, where when you think about planting, you've got your tree, and that'll be sending out its roots, and some of them might be close to the surface, some of them will go down much deeper. If you then put in things like herbaceous pest, their roots probably going to be a little bit, and therefore I'm going to take up or be in competition with the tree roots. If you then put shrubs, they're going to need a bit more space, and their roots are going to go down. They will, either way, whatever you're going to put in is going to compete with that tree. So if you can add compost, it'll be really good with some bulk compost. Sort of fork it all through, add some feed as well. Plant them really good water beforehand, and give them good water once you plant them, and then water for about a week, and then after a week, start on every other day, and then intake. And then once they're taken, you'll be fine. You'll probably while water them. I've got just looking out my windows here, I've got a cherry tree and actually a large leyland hedge, and underneath there at the moment we've got the most beautiful coming out, and it's the most beautiful lilac. But we don't do anything with it. We just leave it and it comes up. We've got some, they love it down there. So there are plants to do my shade. So there we go. A few ideas for you there. Quick recap: you could try things like Alcuba, you could try Fatsia, Sarcococca, you could try Nia aquifolium, or you could even try butcher's broom, actually, thinking about it, which is a sort of an underrated plant, in my opinion. Sort of herbaceous wise, you could try leaf plants or try which has these and purple flowers, medium Lanium. So there's a few and ranging in, which is doing the two lupins are I don't have to name it again. I'm really there are reasons why this is happening. Neutral to slightly acidic soils, they will chalk where you're have any photographs. I can't really judge by so all of this is, so it will not grow. They don't grow soil. They like a moist soil, i.e., they don't like being waterlogged, can actually rot the plant. They love full sun rather than shade, partial shade. Obviously, you can suffer from aphids, and especially giant lupins, and of course, slugs and snails love the plants. Sounds like all doom and gloom, really. Lupins are lovely plants to grow. Have heavy clay soils, then add lots of grit to help with that drainage. So again, so the crown of that plant doesn't rot off. Ensure you planted the same depth as they were in the pot. Burying them too deeply again, shallow, they may also fail to establish. It's making sure you do it exactly the same level as they were in the pot. Only feed once. So on planting, I always recommend bloodfish and bone. It's for me personally, I find it one of the best feeds to give. Lupins do actually produce their own nitrogen, so additional feeding will only produce a lush green growth, which aphids are going to absolutely love. So only feed it once when you plant, and as I say, do that with bloodfish and bone, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Lupins are great for about 5 years, but then they can become sort of a bit woody and a bit unproductive. What you can do, you can dig them up after 5 years and divide and replant them, of course. And although they do have a really long taproot, will be damaged if you dig them up and divide them. They will recover quite quickly, and they should flower for another 5 years. Like competition and weeds, so ensure you weed. Do not use farmyard manure, even well rotted, as it will rot the crowns. So I know everyone sort of thinks, you know, farmyard manure is great, and it is great. Don't get me, it's good for borders, but used in the right way. But lupins, best not to use it. Steer clear of it. And finally, all I can really say is don't use water. Ideally, use rainwater. So use rainwater. So if you've got water butts, absolutely perfect. Collect your rain into those, and use the water to water your lupins. So hopefully, by sort of looking at all those negatives, you can see you're doing the right thing with your lupin. Just to recap on that, like slightly acidic soils, they won't grow on chalky soils. They like moist but well-drained soil. They prefer full sun, although a little bit of partial shade is okay. Aphids are a real big problem, especially the giant lupin aphid. Or slugs and snails like them, so you'll need to look after that. Slugs and snails are a great thing to those copper rings. If you can put them around the base of the plant, then the sun will come along and every time they get, and it really puts them off. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. Also, if you've got clay soil, sort of break up that soil by adding lots of grit, and that will also help with the drainage, and therefore it won't get waterlogged, and therefore the ground won't rot off. Also, make sure you've planted them exactly as they were in the pot. Don't plant them too deeply because the ground will rot. Don't plant them too shallowly, as they'll also fail fish. And when you plant them, feed them then. Don't feed them again, and feed them with something like blood, fish, and bone. And because lupins, as I say, get their own nitrogen in their roots, just keep adding more feed, you're just going to get lush growth, and the aphid's going to absolutely love it. Make sure you keep your weeds down, so go around, hoe your weeds, or trowel out your weeds around them. Don't use farmyard manure. Again, this can rot the grounds. Even well-rotted farmyard manure can actually rot them off. And finally, don't use water, use rainwater. So that's actually it for the week. That's 3/4 of an hour gone. I never know the time goes with it. So here watching, I do keep and I do people's comments. So I might some things for next. If you watch them, please obviously share, like, do you know? Oh, thank you for cracking. Thank you. Thanks for a great weekend. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Keep well. Enjoy the weather. Protection. And have a wonderful time. But of course, can't do these clinics without you. Questions and your queries, and then we've got something ready for next. To put a quick proviso in here. As you know, I am also doing some other presenting work, so sometimes it does interfere with the clinic, but I will let you know. So please keep looking at forms, and you will know whether or not the clinic will be happening that week or not. So I'm very sorry for it, but unfortunately other things pop up every now and then. So everybody, happy gardening. Get out there, enjoy the sunshine, wear your sun protection, wear a hat, wear your long sleeves, enjoy the weather, get outside, gardens, or go a lovely walk. Keep safe, everyone. Goodbye.